As you all know, my name is Nirva LaFortune. I'm a Providence City Councilwoman and candidate for Mayor of Providence. More importantly, I'm a mom of Providence Public School kids and a graduate myself. The quality of our education, of our public schools in Providence is of great importance to me. My parents sent 5 children through the public schools. We have gone through Mount Pleasant High School, Hope High School, Gilbert Stewart, Roger Williams, Pleasant View, Broad Street Elementary. And most families in our city rely on a public education and rely on their neighborhood schools to send their children. Providence Public Schools is the most diverse district in the state, with about 37 schools serving nearly 22,000 students from various backgrounds. We are standing here outside of West, one of the largest elementary schools in our district. According to the school's Rhode Island Department of Education school report card, this school serves approximately 750 students, kindergarten through 5th grade. Within our district, we have committed professionals, teachers, educators, support staff, and administrators, students who are eager to learn, grow, and develop, and families who want to see their kids thrive. I am the oldest of 5, and as I stated earlier, my parents sent all of their children to Providence Public Schools. In fact, the schools that I attended, Pleasant View Elementary, Nathaniel Green Middle School, and Mount Pleasant High School, are all within about a mile or so from where we are standing here today. For too long, though, we have allowed politics to take priority over our children. The reality is, we cannot have a thriving city and a safer city, a thriving economy without quality schools. I am here today to highlight some of the most important things that I think we ought to do to begin transforming our schools. While I understand that transformation does not happen overnight, I know that there are steps that must be taken to improve outcomes for our students and morale for our teachers, administrators, and all those who work in, attend, and are a part of our Providence Public School District. As mayor, I plan to bring stakeholders together and demand the egos to be set aside and all this finger pointing and begin putting plans into action. We have the turnaround plan. We need a pathway to get there. I want to walk through what I envision as the most actionable and pragmatic steps to begin providing our children with the education that they deserve. Providing a better education for our children means creating a better, more sustainable, and more equitable city. I'm gonna give it to you. A piece published yesterday by Steph Machado was titled, "Providence Starts School Year with 162 Teacher Vacancies." My daughter is one of the students who started at Providence Public Schools. She started 7th grade. This is unsustainable. It is also unfair to our students, and it's unfair to our educators and those who are already trying to do their best. They can with the resources they have, and those resources are very limited. Within my first term, we will create a citywide teacher residency program to establish a pipeline of diverse teachers and create a culture of teacher preparation and raise the bar for teacher effectiveness. This will be an equity-focused training program that ensures that teachers are highly trained, supported, and effective, and will begin at Mount Pleasant High School because they have a teacher academy that has been funded, and in partnership with Rhode Island College and our other local institutions, to position Providence Public School District high school students and Providence residents to become certified to teach in Providence Public Schools upon graduation from college. In addition to this residency program, I will lead the effort to bring together our city's financial team, local banks, and major nonprofits to develop an incentive program where there is a forgivable loan or home down payment program for teachers and other city employees to reside in the city of Providence. This will provide an opportunity for teachers to live and work in one community, providing more meaningful engagement. You know, my daughter, one of her teachers, her Italian teacher, he lives in our neighborhood. And one of the things that I love seeing is when she sees him walking with his children and his family down the street, and she knows that her teacher is part of our community and he understands the community that he serves. Once teachers are in the classroom, we need to ensure that they have the resources and tools to serve the entire student's need, the whole student. That means that we must work with our state legislators, our delegation, and the governor to provide Providence with the additional funding that has long been deserved. We must ensure that the funding formula appropriately weighs for English language learners, expands programs that support teachers pursuing multi-language learning certification, and we must vastly expand mental and behavioral health funding for the districts like Providence, where children are more exposed to adverse determinants of health. We must also get our school-based officers or school-based resource officers out of our schools. This is something that so many of our students have been talking about for years now. And develop a safety plan that actually protects our schools and our students. And make real and sustainable investments in and out of school learning, including experiential learning opportunities. The wind is not cooperating today. Experiential learning opportunities, affordable and accessible before and after school care, and pre-K opportunities as well. Now, let's talk about our school buildings. We have not set the physical and built conditions for our students to thrive. After a long moratorium on state aid for school construction and rehabilitation, years and years of mayors and leaders promising to fix our school buildings, and the lack of maintenance of our school buildings, it is time we had a Providence Public Schools parent, not a politician in the mayor's office, to finally fix the conditions of our schools, our buildings. We must accelerate upgrades to existing buildings and the construction of new school buildings. East Providence recently constructed a brand new, beautiful school. They designed a learning campus. We can begin demanding more. Here's how we will do it. 1, create and prioritize a list to actually fix our schools. Look over what the school district has done so far. One that continues to evaluate the building and facilities for the highest needs and outlines a plan to ensure that the projects effectively engage organized labor and our minoritized community and women-owned businesses, and make sure that all these projects are clearly outlined in the Providence Infrastructure Investment Database so people know what's happening. 2, create an apprenticeship program with organizations like Building Futures so that our recent graduates can be a part of the repair and construction of our schools they once learned in and earn good wages while doing it. 3, we will expand high-quality pre-kindergarten seats throughout the city of Providence, but our school buildings have to be able to accommodate, our pre-kindergarten learners, with the eventual goal of achieving universal pre-K by the end of my first term. One issue that has come up at every single forum I have been to over the last year is the state takeover. And it's something that comes up at the doors, when I speak to parents, when I speak to teachers, when I speak to our school partners. We must end the disastrous state takeover of PPSD and responsibly transition our schools back to local control. We need to know exactly where we are in achieving the goals laid out in the turnaround plan and outline the path forward towards achieving them. We need to stay on course. Within my first 100 days, we will work with the Rhode Island Department of Education, our school district, our partners, our parents and teachers to assess where we are in the turnaround plan and create benchmarks for the next year and identify which responsibilities will this be the states and which will be the cities as we work together towards the return of full local control. We have talked about increasing in school support, better supporting our teachers and our staff, repairing, rebuilding, and constructing our district school buildings, and we have talked about the need to regain control of our schools. Let us turn now to what a student needs outside of the classroom. Within my first term, I want to be able to guarantee every Providence Public Schools student or graduating senior who would like to directly enter the workforce or explore career options access to a job placement opportunity upon graduation. We will work in partnership with Providence Career and Technical Academy, our labor unions, large corporations, the food and hospitality industry, arts programs, and others to create a robust career technical education, a CTE curriculum, to prepare students for the workforce and set aside programs so that these organizations set aside positions within their units or their organizations for graduating seniors and our high school kids. And during pilot negotiations, this is an opportunity for us to establish a certification program for graduating seniors who wish to join the healthcare profession immediately upon graduation, or even work in higher education like I have for almost 20 years. And finally, we need to expand the out-of-school opportunities that we provide to our Providence Public Schools students. I will work so that within my first year, we are providing students with year-round, high-quality enrichment opportunities, including during the winter break, by partnering with PASA and other organizations, our local universities, our libraries, our rec centers. We will ensure that every child can have access to these vital form of experiential learning opportunities in the arts, environment, justice, and other community engagement activities. I will work to make necessary investments to expand current before and after care, out-of-school opportunities through PASA, our recreation centers and Boys and Girls Club, and local arts, science, and tech partners. Additionally, Camp Cronin, we've seen it in the news more recently, is another example of how I plan to provide these opportunities. Providence ought to leverage its positionality as the city within the Ocean State. What's sad is that many BIPOC students and families from socially and financially under-resourced or disadvantaged communities have never seen the ocean or even left the city, and we have an opportunity to change that. Within my first term, I will allocate infrastructure funds to fully repair Camp Cronin and begin educational programs at the site. Establish a lifeguard training program. If you look at the data, many of our kids do not know how to swim. We have talked about programs to train lifeguards at the beginning of each summer who can then be gainfully employed throughout the summer months at our city swimming pools, Save the Bay, URI, and other environmental education advocacy groups in partnership with the city can begin providing experiential learning opportunities for Providence youth, young adults, and seniors during the summer months and year-round. These are some of my ideas. You know, one thing I want to highlight is that we don't have many politicians who have their kids in the schools. Rebecca Kislak is here. She's a Providence Public School parent. We also have her wife, Dr. Joanna Brown, who has worked in schools as a healthcare provider, providing students with wraparound services. I'm here today because of access to opportunities. It's interesting, when I was a kid and till this day, when we talk about Mount Pleasant High School, there was this joke, Mount Pregnant. One of my good friends was pregnant in 10th grade. She now has a graduate degree, an MBA. It was because Mount Pleasant High School had a daycare program that allowed her to go to school, to learn, and to thrive. We also need opportunities and to stop working in silos and really create partnerships with college support and preparation programs. I was a crusader. We have Maura here, who's part of College Visions. Not only does it help students, particularly students of color from marginalized communities, to connect with college opportunities, but they also support them while they're in school. We have Brandon, who's a recent URI graduate. This is a young man who looks like many of our students, particularly our young boys. This is someone who wants to serve as a mentor and who has been engaging in the community. If we want thriving schools, we also need people who understand the challenges of our schools. I had a kid when I was 19 years old. I went to an HBCU. It was a teacher who drove me to college. But again, it was because of access to opportunities, access to programs, access to community engagement, access to a organization that made me think about college as an option that got me to where I am today. We've seen what happens when we take people from the outside coming into the district to lead. And this is an opportunity for us to elect a mayor, not a mayor who went to classical, because I didn't test well. I struggled with learning. But a mayor who went to Mount Pleasant High School, who is part of experiential learning through their program. We need someone who really understands our educational system. So this plan is one step forward, but I also recognize that we're not going to change our school district overnight. But it's up to the city, it's up to the leaders to invest in our kids' education and stop giving us lip service. Because so many of our kids continue to struggle. So many of our families continue to struggle. But education is the foundation to success. So I stand here today committed that I will be Providence Education Mayor. Half measures and half efforts at transforming the education that we provide to our children is not enough. It's not. And as mayor, I will work to make each and every one of these a reality. And there will be more. Our children deserve nothing less than the best from us. Thank you.